Hey, everybody, and welcome back to GC Squared, where we talk about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're very excited to have you here. We're very. I lost it. I've been yelling at a camera all day. Please forgive me.
You're good. Yeah, it's been a good day. Yeah. I know I've had a good day. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's been a good one. So, hey. As always, I am joined by my co-host, Garrett. Now, when Garrett isn't when Garrett isn't busy having his face ripped out of his skull, he is a contract writer who specializes in video game content. And I'm sure you also do other things with your life.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so tell me a little bit about the world of video games this week and what you've been up to.
So, there's been a couple of games that came out this week that have my interest, but I haven't gone around and picked up yet. Like, for example, Roots of Pacha got re-released on Steam. That's pretty cool. They were having a dispute for a while, and things weren't really working out with the publisher and the developers. So they had to figure that out while it was taken off the Steam store.
Oh.
But this week, they ended up getting it going again and got everything figured out. So now the game's out again. So that's cool.
That's fantastic. That's good news.
Yeah, I'm thinking about picking it up. I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that. Let's see. Oh yeah, Diablo 4 came out this week, but I don't have a strong enough computer to handle it, unfortunately. So did Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection, which is a Switch remake of three DS games.
Okay.
So that's pretty interesting. As for playing games, I haven't had much time to play. I started a new full-time job today that involves content writing.
Hey, applause for Garrett. Woo.
I've been doing
it now, but I've edited it in.
I did sign an NDA, so I'm not sure what all I can talk about, but yeah, I am a content writer for them, so that's cool.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good. That's exciting. I'm glad that happened for you.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't want to risk anything. So yeah, that's been good. I've been playing a bit of Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, which is a mid-2000s RPG that came out on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, that's one that I really enjoy, and I like to go back and replay every so often. The combat's just like Final Fantasy X.
I play Final Fantasy X. Well, I can't say that. I started Final Fantasy X.
So you have an idea of what you can expect from that game based on that description?
Yeah, underwater soccer.
Yeah. Well, not that part of it.
All right. Cool.
But so Taylor, when and in reference to my face getting ripped off, I got something close. I got a tooth pulled out this week. That's fun.
Yeah, that's where I came up with my rather gruesome description.
Yeah, that's fair. Anyway, and then as the other co-host, we have Taylor, and when he's not busy creating reviews about Donkey Kong the movie, he is getting involved with and reading comic books and keeping up with that world. So what's been going on with the world of comic books?
Oh, what has been going on with the world of comic books? I guess this is kind of cheating because it's not comic books, but the Spider-Verse movie was released yesterday as of this recording.
Oh, yeah.
Holy lip nuggets. Okay. I don't think it is stretching to say that this is the best animated movie ever.
Dang.
Like,
even better than the first?
Into the Spider-Verse changed the game, right? And you can tell it changed the game because so many other movies started copying it. The upcoming Ninja Turtles movie copied it. Puss in Boots copied it. Across the Spider-Verse blows it out of the water.
Oh, okay.
I was floored the entire time. And as a comic book fan as well, I felt like every single second there were at least 25 different things to look at.
Oh, dang.
It was just, I was floored. I cannot praise it enough. If this movie gets up to the Oscars and does not win Best Picture, I will riot forever. An animated movie has never won Best Picture, but I cannot imagine any movie being released this year that would be better than it.
Dang. That confident, huh?
Yeah. Like, if it doesn't win Best Animated, then something really is wrong in the world. Because, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as superhero movies go, it's definitely by far and away the best Spider-Man movie we've ever had. Hands down. And it might be the best superhero movie ever. Every time I say that, there's a voice in the back of my head that says, yeah, but Batman Mask of the Phantasm. It's like, oh, yeah, that one's really good. So,
No.
So that's probably the biggest thing that happened. As far as like my own reading material, I picked up, my weekly books, read through them. They were pretty good overall. Like the Superman and Action Comics, I'm picking up both of them, as you could probably expect. And they're both fantastic. Some of the best stuff I've seen Superman do in years. And the Spider-Man book is kind of controversial right now, but I also really love that. So maybe I'm just easy to please. I don't know. But that's what's been going on over here.
Okay.
So, hey guys, for today, this week, we thought that it would be fun in like conjunction with the Spider-Verse movie being released to go over the list of the Spider-Man video games and just kind of like give general thoughts on them and talk about like what we think, what we feel, and why we came to that conclusion.
Okay.
We're going to start in release order here, and I have the list pulled up this time around. So as far as video games go, the first Spider-Man game was released in 1982 on the Atari 2600, and it was published by Parker Brothers. That's interesting. They're like the board game people.
That is very interesting.
Oh.
I may actually recognize that one. Let me check real quick.
I've played it.
Really?
Yeah, I played the Atari game.
Oh, how was it?
It's exactly what you would expect a Spider-Man Atari game to be. It's the red square. You're trying to navigate the red square up the yellow squares that kind of look like a building.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a green square that is dropping other squares on you, and the other squares explode.
Gotcha. Okay. I remember where I recognized this. I saw it in an Angry Video Game Nerd episode.
Yep. Yeah, the Angry Video Game Nerd talked about it. Yep. And I mean, I feel like it would be unfair to say it's not a great game because, like, what are you expecting on the 2600?
Yeah, you can only do so much with it.
It's the machine that did Pong okay. It's not even the best way to play Pong.
Funny enough. They had an entire machine dedicated to Pong.
I feel like they've had several.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Guess there's not a whole lot more to say about that one, is there?
Yeah, you just try and climb as high as you can go, right?
Yeah, you just keep on going until you either get to the top and win or you die. And then I guess presumably New York dies. I don't know. I don't know what the Green Goblin's end game is.
Something like that.
I'm pretty sure the Green Goblin is only there to make Spider-Man miserable. Like, it's not like I don't think he's trying to like take control of anything necessarily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, checks out.
All right. Well, the next one, 1984, where I imagine we're going to move pretty quickly through these early ones.
Yeah.
1984, Quest Probe featuring Spider-Man.
I don't even know what a Quest Probe is.
See, I don't know what a Quest Probe is either, but I read the tie-in comic book to this.
Oh, okay. What was that about?
Okay, so I guess Quest Probe featuring Spider-Man ties into like a bunch of other Quest Probe games. Maybe not even a bunch, maybe just a couple. I'm sure if I click this fancy blue link, it will tell me which ones it connects to. I'm not saying how it connects to stuff, but it connects to things. and it had like it had a comic book tie-in adaptation that was like where you were supposed to get all the prequel ideas of what was going on. And I guess there's like this other villain that kind of looks like Mysterio, but isn't Mysterio.
Oh, okay.
And Spider-Man's all like, "Hey, you look kind of like Mysterio. I'm going to punch you in the face." And the guy's like, "Well, I'm not Mysterio." And, they fight for a couple of seconds and then that's it.
Oh, okay.
But that's all I know.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I did a quick Wikipedia search through this, which is where we're getting all of our sources for these game lists, by the way.
Wikipedia.
The place that all your teachers taught you not to use.
Except that Wikipedia is the right thing to use. It. Wikipedia is completely built off of nerds' need to correct people.
Oh, 100%.
And because of that, I would argue that Wikipedia is more often than not the most reliable source for any piece of information.
I think the main issue comes from the idea of, oh, anyone can edit it. But the thing, though, is if people then edit to fix it, and if you make too many edits to a single Wikipedia post, your account can get banned. And on top of that, if too many people are editing the same thing over and over again, they'll lock it for a while.
You ever pick a Wikipedia page and just mess with it?
No.
Oh.
Do you?
Is that not a normal thing that people do?
I'm not sure. Do I count as a normal person? I'm not so sure.
I'm not so sure now that you bring that up. When I was in high school, I got really bored and I found my high school's Wikipedia page.
Oh, man.
And on the bottom, it listed off who our school rivals were.
Okay.
And it said that we didn't get along with anyone. And I'm like, okay, well, nuh-uh. And so I went in there and I said, and changed it. So it said under rivals, the paragraph I put was, no one. We get along perfectly fine with literally everybody. And it stayed that way for quite a few years.
Really?
Mm-hmm. But I don't imagine too many people were looking at my high school's Wikipedia.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, you were looking up stuff.
Yeah, so I looked into it, and apparently, it was the second in the Quest Probe series, which also had the Hulk for the first one, and then Human Torch and the Thing for the third one.
Oh,
yeah,
that sounds right. I seem to remember that.
Yeah, text-based adventures, a lot of PC systems, but they also had it on the Commodore 64, interestingly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's listed here, the C64.
Yep.
Also the C16. Cool.
Interesting.
And Atari 8-bit, which is another PC. Okay, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, very interesting. Apparently it was a text adventure game. Don't know much about it. I'd be surprised if it was any good.
Yeah.
Who knows, though? I could be completely wrong.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it, but I just remember that I once upon a time had the comic book tie-in and read it. And it was like, whatever. But it was probably whatever because I was only getting part of the story.
Yeah, most likely.
All right. So moving on into 1989, the year of the Batman. We got 2 games, or at least it lists 2 games. The Amazing Spider-Man and Captain America and Dr. Doom's Revenge.
What a title.
Yeah, I watched gameplay for that one.
Oh, okay.
And it is all kinds of clunky. It is.
Okay.
You can win the whole game. And I saw a video of this. Someone won the whole game by just crouching and hitting the down attack the whole time, like the sweep attack.
Nice.
So it's not very let me pull up the article. Oh, that's right. That's where I saw it. Oh, okay. It was at Retro City Games.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I found it in the back.
Oh.
In the back by all of their comic books, they had a box full of just random PC games that I don't think they went through, and it was sitting in that box. Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah, like it got mixed reviews praising the graphics because, I mean, the graphics were probably okay at the time. but the game loaded and played very slowly. That I remember from the gameplay I saw. You go at a snail's pace.
Oh, okay.
And
What
then
kind of game was it?
side scroller beat 'em up?
Okay.
It's yeah. They also released a comic
Okay,
book,
interesting.
and it illustrated the prequel up to the game itself. Yeah. And you switch between Spider-Man and Captain America as things go on.
Okay.
The next one is in the same year, The Revenge of Shinobi, but I don't know how Spider-Man is in that
Yeah.
game. This was on the Genesis.
I don't think this.
What was that?
Oh, okay. So apparently, according to the Wikipedia article, so apparently, the designer would take characters and make adjustments to them, and it led to many characters being similar to Sylvester Stallone, Batman, Spider-Man, Terminator, and Godzilla.
Oh, that's right. I heard about this. This is like that famous, oh, we're breaking copyright game.
Yeah,
Yeah. So he's in that game, sort of.
he's illegally in that game, I guess.
I guess.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that game that's legendary. I feel like every game reviewer has to at one point talk about The Revenge of Shinobi, even though I didn't recognize the title. Like I know the game now.
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, moving along into 1990, we got two games that are different but both have the same title.
Mm-hmm.
And they're The Amazing Spider-Man, one on Amiga DOS, Commodore 64, and Atari ST, and then Amazing Spider-Man on the Game Boy. That was developed by Rare.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hold on, and it was published by Nintendo and LJN.
Oh, LGAN. Oh my.
Yeah, but it was developed by Rare.
Yeah, that's weird.
Hold on, I'm gonna look into this. So it's a side-scrolling platform action video game released for the Nintendo Game Boy in 1990. It was developed by Rare, based on Spider-Man. Oh, I remember seeing a video about this one on YouTube somewhere.
Okay.
Let's see. Not a particularly memorable game, I would say. I remember them saying that it didn't control as well as you would hope it would.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, but I do know the sequel to this game, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
There's a sequel?
There's two sequels.
Whoa!
Whoa. Next one is Spider-Man versus the Kingpin, and I remember hearing about this one too.
Okay.
This one is this one actually had a secret ending where you could kill Mary Jane if you didn't go fast enough or you missed something in the game.
Oh my, that's kind of terrifying.
Yeah. So, let's see. A few weeks after becoming Spider-Man, Peter Parker marries Mary Jane because he moves quick. Meanwhile, Kingpin establishes a criminal empire and forcibly transforms respected scientist Dr. Octopus into Dr. Octopus. And then Peter's all like, hey, I know we just got married, and I probably should have told you this while we were dating, but I'm Spider-Man. And Mary Jane's like, oh, okay.
Nice.
And then, MJ gets kidnapped and Peter's like, no. And then he fights a whole bunch of bad guys to get to her.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, pretty standard fare.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm. All right, 1991. We're just going to cruise through these. The Punisher, The Ultimate Payback, featuring Spider-Man, because we can't sell the game by itself. So
exactly. Another Game Boy game.
Another Game Boy game. This one, Spider-Man's role is basically he shows up occasionally and then he leaves. But you're playing as the Punisher the whole time, and it's like a first-person shooter on the Game Boy.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's not very good, but
yeah,
I don't know what you would expect from a first-person shooter on the Game Boy.
Yeah. This game was developed by Chrome Studios, which is interesting.
What's so interesting about Chrome?
Are you familiar with Ty the Tasmanian Tiger?
I do know Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
Yeah, so Chrome Studios is the one that created him.
Oh.
Yeah, though this one specifies Melbourne, so I don't know if there's a difference there or not.
Let's see. It says originally Beam Software. It was an Australian game. Let's see what else they made, or if they made anything. Castle of Terror, Gyroscope, Asterix, The Magic Cauldron, Back to the Future on the NES.
I just looked into this. The Melbourne group, I guess, was not part of the Tasmanian Tiger.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go. But like ultimately, until we get way later in this timeline, Spider-Man is a cheap licensed video game. So I don't imagine that we're going to see much quality until I would bet the Marvel versus Capcom games or maybe even Spider-Man 2000, which we'll have a lot to say once we get to that point.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, and then we have
All right. So
go ahead. Sorry.
sorry. I was just gonna say next is Spider-Man the video game, 1991.
Produced and developed by Sega. It's an arcade game.
Yep, arcade style beat 'em up.
Oh,
Simple enough.
simple enough. Doesn't look bad though.
Mm.
It looks like it's multiplayer, and it looks like the other characters you get to play as are probably Black Cat, Namor, and Hawkeye. So, oof. You have player 1 who gets to be Spider-Man, player 2 who gets to be the Black Cat, and player 3 and 4 who get the short end of the stick.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, Hawkeye. Oh, that would be unfortunate. And Submariner. Woo.
Hey, there are Hawkeye fans.
Yeah, I guess so. And they're all going to hate me for saying that. All 6 of them.
Exactly.
Guys, can I just say real quick, Hawkeye was not cool until like fairly recently, honestly. Like,
thanks to the MCU?
like the MCU, and then there were maybe a couple of books before then, but like very, very C-list character. Like,
gotcha.
no. Okay, now that I've insulted everyone from 1991. 1992! The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I have a story for that game.
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. I was in school, elementary school, and I was famous for really liking Spider-Man. And I had Spider-Man on the PlayStation 2. And I played the crap out of it. Not the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 1, I should say. And I played the crap out of it. And I loved that game a lot. Then a friend showed up and he's all like, hey, guess what I got? I have Spider-Man 2 on the Game Boy. I'm like, oh, the sequel to that game I love? It was not the sequel to the game that I love.
No way.
It was really bad. It was really, really, really bad. I couldn't figure out. I spent hours trying to figure out just how to control him. And I couldn't swing, and I couldn't climb walls, and I couldn't punch the bad guy. In the first level, they throw Carnage at you as a repeating villain.
Oh.
Like he would show up on the screen every time you moved, and you would have to punch him before he would punch you. And I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't get out of the dumb amusement park level. I just kept dying over and over and over, and I could see why my friend just gave it to me.
Oh, okay.
Also, LJN. Yeah, LJN right there. Developers. Ugh.
Not surprising.
Nope.
They're not the best, that's for sure.
No, they are not. They're famous for being really bad.
Yep.
All right, then we have Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six.
Sick.
I have no comment.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen that in videos before.
Well, it's like
Are you familiar with it?
I know I've watched lots of videos that just go over all of these games, but I don't know if there's like a whole lot to say there. I have more to say about Arcade's Revenge. The game that was released the same year right after it for the Super Nintendo. I hear it's actually pretty decent.
Oh, okay.
Despite having LJN's logo on it. It's like there were a couple of Spider-Man games with LJN that were actually pretty good. Maximum Carnage is the other one. And that was released in 94, if you look later on the list.
Was Maximum Carnage the beat 'em up where you could play as Spider-Man or Venom?
Yes, it was.
Okay, I've played that before.
Yeah, and it is directly based off of the comic with the same name.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. Well, that's significant because, like, as far as I can tell, there are only a handful of video games that are direct adaptations of comics. And Maximum Carnage is one, and they had Death and Return of Superman.
Okay.
Ultimate Spider-Man, you would think, but actually, that's a case where the game was based off of the comic book, and then later on, comic book issues were based off of the game.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, at one point the game was canon to the comics, and then they're like, wait, we can't stretch people across different media like this. And so they remade the game as further issues in the comic so they could
That's
cover all their
interesting.
bases. All right, we have two more games, well, 2 more years that had games from the 90s. Now, 95, we had a couple of games, and then Spider-Man, just a game called Spider-Man.
Okay.
That one is based off of the animated series, which is why I wanted to single that one out a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? No attachment to Venom / Spider-Man separation anxiety?
Not a whole lot.
Okay.
What is that? That's a Genesis game. It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up and sequel to Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. So it's probably a decent game. And then
Yeah, probably.
Lethal Foes. Ooh, that is pretty box art. I've heard about this game. I heard this game also isn't very good. Reception on release, Famicom scored the game a 21 out of 40. So that's middle of the road. But man, that box art. Mark Bagley, he brought his A game for that box art. That is pretty. I love me some pretty box art.
Oh, yeah.
And then 1996. For a while, my big gaming goal was to collect all the Spider-Man home console games.
Oh, how'd that go for you?
The Amazing Spider-Man Web of Fire kills that hope and dream for me.
Why? How much does it go for?
You want the loose card or in-box cost?
Oh, geez. Let's hear it loose.
Loose, the cartridge is $1,000. That's the last time I saw it.
That's insane.
And then let's see what the cost is for in-box. Oh, shopping. Golly.
Yeah.
An in-box copy is on sale right now for the low price of $3,000.
Yes. Finally.
I mean, if you look at the game, it's on the 32X, so it looks fantastic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it's a gorgeous looking game, but also it was on the 32X, and maybe 6 people had it.
Exactly.
And yeah, so after that, I decided that I was just going to go from 2000 on. Like that's the new goal.
Oh, fair enough.
So hey, that's the 90s games.
Just to say, it's kind of interesting. There was a big gap right there where it was like 4 straight years without a game release.
Well, especially since he's been pretty reliably having a release ever since '89 on a yearly basis.
Yeah. So I don't know. Was there anything going on in the world of comic books at that time that would lead to that?
Yes, I was just barely researching this for the Spider-Man 2099 video I was doing.
Oh,
in 1996, Marvel went bankrupt.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, not due to quality concerns, but because the president of Marvel at that time made a lot of concerning and questionable business deals where he kept absorbing companies that the parent company just couldn't contain, right? Like,
okay,
he bought a toy company, he bought a playing card company, just decided he was going to take over like that related market. But Marvel Comics themselves was not big enough to sustain those. Also, the collector's market just completely tanked. Now, Now, comics in the early 90s, someone sold a bunch of really old comics and made a lot of money off of them and got a lot of people very excited. And so people would buy a single issue to read, but then they would buy like 3 or 4 to resell at a later date. Problem is, though, everyone bought 3 or 4 issues to resell at a later date. So no one was interested in buying any more copies. And so people just stopped buying comics altogether. And comic book companies were like, oh, people will keep this thing going. And so we'll just print like 4 times more comics than we need.
But that's probably around the time it starts slowing down, huh?
Yeah, that was the time when it started like tanking, and people were like, hold on, do I really need a foil cover of Avengers 76? Avengers 76 doesn't mean anything. And so the collector's market just completely tanked. And DC hurt, but they came back from it. And so did Dark Horse and Image.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel didn't, because they were too big for their pants at that time. And so they went bankrupt.
Gotcha.
So that's probably why nothing happened after 96, because like the license probably just wasn't worth anything.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But all of that changed later. But
Mhm.
I want to know, based on your limited knowledge, I mean, because it is limited knowledge, what do you think of the games that were released up through the 90s?
I didn't really see anything that terribly stood out to me aside from like the arcade games. Maximum Carnage, I remember from my childhood being fun. It seemed that they kind of picked up on the fact of okay, side-scrolling beat 'em ups is what's attracting people, so let's stick with that. So that kind of makes sense, especially when you consider that like, I 90s had decently sized arcades, so it makes sense to have beat 'em up style games that people would still enjoy and go to.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
that is a good observation, because like what was it before then? You had a couple of adventure games, couple of text-based games, side-scrolling adventure games.
Mhm.
And where was the first beat 'em up? Spider-Man the arcade game in 91
Yeah.
was the first beat 'em up. And then we got several more after that. So yeah, I think you're onto something.
Mhm. Beat
Cool.
'em ups were fairly popular at the time, so it makes sense.
Well, it's easy to pick up and play, right? Like
Exactly.
you can go in there, you throw a quarter in the machine, and then you play until you die, and then you go home. Like it's easy to do.
Yep, more or less.
We don't need a story as to why we're beating up bad guys. We just need to beat up the bad guys.
Although funny enough, they usually provided a story.
Ah, and
Yep.
told you not to do drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
Winners don't do drugs.
Exactly.
All right. But that's the 80s to the 90s. Now I feel like we're going to start having a lot more to say from this point on.
Oh yeah, this is where you and I start getting our experience with these games.
Yeah. And we get a lot less of them. Like they start coming out less frequently, and they're of a much higher caliber of quality, both because technology has caught up to the idea, as well as they're doing less games so they can focus
Mhm.
on making better ones, perhaps.
Exactly.
Starting with the big one, Spider-Man 2000, my childhood.
Yep. Okay, I think you'll be interested to actually hear my first experience with this game.
Yes, tell me all about it.
Okay, so imagine little, I guess I would be 6 at the time, 6-year-old Garrett, okay? He's hanging out at home
He's picking his
and
nose.
he something like that. And he's only in like first grade or something. I don't know the exact date. But
Sure.
he enjoys eating cereal, right?
Cereal.
So he's eating his cereal and
No, did you get the thing?
yeah,
Oh, keep
I'm
going.
eating my cereal, and my mom's like, "Hey, this cereal box has a prize in it." I was like, "It does?" She's like, "Yeah, why don't you look inside?" I open it and I find a disc, and it's the
Oh,
Spider-Man 2000 demo disc.
oh, buddy. Okay. Is this the demo that I'm thinking of?
Probably it was PC only.
Okay. Let me be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, sure thing.
So, there was a demo of this game. The Kellogg's demo is what they call it, because it was found in cereal. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, I want to get my hands on this so bad. This game wasn't released to demo the game. It was released to promote the Tobey Maguire movie.
Oh, really?
And the big difference And the reason why people are trying to find the Kellogg's demo after all these years is that you get a PS1 model of Tobey Maguire's costume.
Oh, I wonder if that was the one I played.
If that's the one you played and you didn't keep it,
Bro, I was 6.
I don't care. I will go back in time and find your 6-year-old self and be like, you. And that's where I would stop. I would probably take the game from you and then run away, and then you'd be crying. And then you'd start getting all these memories at this point in time.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember this happening?
No, I do not.
I guess I didn't do it then. Shoot.
Dang, that's rough.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. You got the demo disc.
Yeah, I'm like looking up gameplay and I can't tell if I remember that or not.
Yeah, you're looking up the Kellogg demo?
Yeah.
Yeah. They said it was supposed to be a demo for the Spider-Man video game tie-in to the movie, but it's obviously not. It's the first couple of levels. It's like the bank heist levels, but with the Tobey Maguire skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm doing some quick online research, and it seems the only PC demo that existed was the Kellogg's demo.
Dude, I wonder what the going cost for the Kellogg demo is now.
Oh, I'm sure it's stupid expensive.
All right, Spider-Man game Kellogg demo. Shopping. Let's see if anyone's listed it. Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's like $5 to $15.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, this person is selling it for 68. I wonder why they stopped there. Yeah, cool. Wait, no,
yeah, I'd be surprised if I didn't get it seems that was the one I played actually. Interesting.
Yep, released in 2002. They re-released the first few levels, but with the Tobey Maguire skin.
Oh, it was released in 2002.
Yeah, the Kellogg demo.
Then I guess my memory must be slightly off of when it came out.
That's all right.
But you're ready for this?
Yeah.
So I remember playing it, and here's the thing, though. I had a really crappy Microsoft Works 1995 computer at the time.
Ooh, nice.
So I put in the game disc, right?
Oh no.
And I'm playing the game, and I start it up, and the sound plays completely fine. But I kid you not, the game is running at probably 1 frame every 5 seconds.
Oh, buddy, I am with you. I think that might just be a weird intricacy of the PC version. Okay, my turn. Story time.
All right.
I had the PlayStation disc, and I played the PlayStation disc a bunch. And then a friend, probably the same friend who gave me the Game Boy game, said, "Hey, I don't play this anymore. Do you want it?" And I said, "Sure." And he gave me the PC copy. And I had a Windows 99 at the time. Was it Windows 99? Yeah, it was Windows 99. And yeah, 1 frame every 5 seconds. Sound would play just fine. They'd open up the game. Stanley would finish his narration. Web swinging, wall crawling, action. And then, 2 minutes later, Spider-Man loads into the game. Man, I love that game so much. Spider-Man 2000 is a masterpiece.
Yeah, that game's a lot of fun. But because the game ran so slowly, when I would play the demo, I couldn't beat the part where you got to throw the bomb into the safe.
Yeah, because the timer would just keep on going, huh?
Exactly.
I guess that's where your demo ends.
Yep, that's where my demo would end.
But I think the demo took you all the way through the police chase, even.
Did it really take you that far?
Yeah, I think the game ends when Black Cat shows up and is like, "Hey, we got to go after Rhino."
Huh.
If I remember correctly, but I don't have the demo. But apparently it's not hard to get.
Yeah, apparently not.
But I'm not going to play it on my PC. I need a CD drive.
True. You can get external CD drives nowadays.
Yeah, I guess. But I've also had really bad luck trying to play old PC games.
Okay.
Like the hardware just has a hard time with the outdated software, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, there you go. Spider-Man 2000. Love that game.
Yeah, game was a lot of fun. Just levels you'd play through, had fun, and yeah,
Yeah,
I've
well,
actually
really well
still haven't
designed
gone
like
around.
interiors.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I still haven't gone around to beating it actually.
It's not that hard.
Yeah, I know. I just haven't gone around to it. It's not so much the difficulty.
Oh, I remember I was over at your house once and you
hmm
had it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll throw this on. And I beat it within like a couple of hours of just sitting there.
Yeah, you think I'd get around to playing it, but I just haven't.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Great game.
hmm
Great game. The modding scene for it is nuts.
Really?
Yeah. Like people have taken even like the PlayStation version and have messed up with it. It's been great. There's some
I
cool
got
stuff in there. People put
quick
in like
look. Oh, sorry.
costumes. People put in costumes you wouldn't expect to be in there. People have put in modern costumes. Some people have taken character models and swapped them around so you could play as like Captain America and stuff.
That's great.
All right,
Yeah,
moving
it,
along.
it has its own dedicated Game Banana page, so that's something.
Yeah,
Yeah, but moving along.
moving along. 2001 comes along, and we get a bunch of Spider-Man 2s. Spider-Man 2: The
Mhm.
Sinister Six. I'm not sure what that one is supposed to be a sequel to. Oh, it's an alternative sequel to 2000.
Oh, okay.
Um, let's see, and mostly follows the events of the Game Boy Color version of that game.
Okay. Interesting.
And then Spider-Man 2: Enter Electro is the PlayStation exclusive sequel, the true sequel to Spider-Man 2000,
hmm
run on the same game engine and everything. So like when I see people mod Spider-Man, they're usually modding Enter Electro as well.
Okay.
And then Mysterio's Menace is a third alternate sequel to Spider-Man 2000.
Okay.
All of them take the story in different directions. All of them highlight different elements. None of them quite as good as 2000.
hmm
Though I hear really good things about Mysterio's Menace because Mysterio's Menace is on the Game Boy Advance and kind of set the framework for what the movie tie-in games for the next couple of years were supposed to look like.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's interesting because you can literally I remember playing Spider-Man 2000 and also seeing Spider-Man Enter Electro, and you see a lot of like the similar systems in that game used in the future ones.
Yeah. Well, I think it's part of it is that Vicarious Visions and Treyarch were involved with Spider-Man 2000, and then they went on to make the movie tie-ins, Treyarch
Ah,
especially.
that makes sense.
So, and well, at least the first one.
hmm
I guess we're moving into 2002 now.
Yeah.
Spider-Man the movie tie-in game.
Yeah. Okay, that one I played a lot growing up.
I didn't. This is the point where like the movie tie-in game was just a little too much for my parents' taste, I guess. So
Uh,
I had Spider-Man 2000, played the crap out of it.
hmm
Didn't get the movie tie-in games until way later in life.
Okay.
But
Yeah. I played Spider-Man 2. Like, I played the Spider-Man movie game a ton. Like, it was kind of crazy.
yeah. Which version? Like what console?
I would play on PS2.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. The Xbox version has exclusive levels.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if you knew that, but like they Xbox wanted like something special for the movie game. And they said,
hmm
okay, well, we have a couple of extra levels. So they give you a couple extra levels and they're like good.
Oh, that's very interesting.
On the flip side, though, you can't use the model swap cheat to play as Mary Jane in the Xbox version.
Mm. Yeah, okay. Actually, speaking of which, I think I owned the greatest hits version growing up because I
Uh
remember one of my friends telling me about cheat codes in the game. I would try the cheat codes and they wouldn't work.
yeah, I don't know if all of the cheat codes were taken off, but specifically the Mary Jane cheat was taken off.
Yeah, I know about that one.
That's why when you were there when I bought my copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I had to I requested the game store to try the cheat for me to see if like that was a thing because I wanted to. I never used it, but I wanted the option to use it at some point. You know?
I see.
Yeah, but let's see. I played the Game Boy one port of it a lot, and I guess the Game Boy, it would be unfair to call it a port. It was a completely different game,
Mm-hmm.
but I played that one all the time.
Okay.
So that's my biggest experience with the tie-in game from 2002.
Gotcha.
All right. Anything more on that one?
Um, Not off the top of my head. No. Just I played it a ton. I would play through the levels. I got stuck on the level breaking and entering. That's the one I could never beat when I was a kid.
Breaking and entering. Where's that one?
That one's much later in the game. It's literally I think you break into like Oscorp or something, and you're trying to steal information. And if you get caught at all, you're just like pretty much guaranteed to die.
I see.
And being a kid, I was not good at stealth missions.
It's like, but I'm Spider-Man.
Can't I just beat them up?
I guess not.
That's not how that works.
All right, Spider-Man 2.
All right, another one I played a ton.
I played this a lot when I wasn't allowed to.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
My friend had an Xbox and he had this game. And I was told specifically I couldn't play rated T games.
Yeah.
But my friend's mom didn't say I couldn't play rated T games. So, like, that was the first game I played that I wasn't allowed to play, you know? Everyone has that game, I'm sure. I'm sure you have that game.
Yeah. Not right now, but I used to own it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like, Spider-Man 2 was the game that I played that I wasn't allowed to play at home, but played anyway.
Gotcha.
My act of rebellion.
You weren't messing around.
I was not messing around. I'm the guy who made us look peaceful on Wikipedia and played award-winning superhero games. I don't know if it's award-winning, but it should be.
Something like that.
All right. Big advancements with this game. It was an open world, really great swinging mechanics. The story was kind of bonkers. The voice acting was more bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Tobey Maguire tried, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I go back and revisit it occasionally, but every time I do, I get messed up on how the swingings works because I'm so used to like the PS4 game these days.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, you have to like push the button a second time to let go or something.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Something. I don't quite remember, but it's a big deal. Like that was, everyone says this. Spider-Man 2 is probably the biggest leap forward in Spider-Man games as far as like, in the 90s, we talked a lot about how the side-scrolling beat 'em ups kind of took over. Spider-Man 2 was another big shift.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 was a lot more open world. Because, like, beforehand, it'd always been beat 'em up, level based, as you were saying. But Spider-Man 2 is like open world, objectives, things to do, multiple things to access. And yeah, they just kind of expanded from there.
Mm-hmm. And balloons. You could catch the kids' balloons.
Yeah, that's the most important part.
That and delivering the pizza.
And now, next, we access my favorite Spider-Man game that was released in the 2000s.
Such a good game.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This game is so freaking good. It builds off the framework of Spider-Man 2 with the idea of like free travel, but it's way more stylized and comic book focused, which I think is sick.
Yeah. They trained a bunch of artists and programmers to be able to draw like Mark Bagley, who's, you know, the big legendary comic book artist behind Ultimate Spider-Man. And so like it just looks fantastic. They introduced a bunch of new villains to that world that we hadn't seen before. They played around with the symbiotes. You got to play as Venom in that open world game, which was a big deal.
Yeah.
My experience mostly with it as a kid was I had the DS version, which
Oh.
was very, very cool. The cutscenes, they weren't animated, but they were like still panic, it's still comic panels. And so like that I really like that. Played like a comic. It was still the 3D CGI models. I feel like that was a wasted opportunity to get an artist to go in and draw the actual panels rather than just take screenshots from the bigger game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh I played it at my cousin's, the proper version at my cousin's, and then much later I got to play it, and I was kind of shocked at how small it is.
Oh yeah, the game's not terribly long.
Yeah, the game's not long, but also the open world is real tiny.
Hmm.
They shrank New York. Like, holy cow. You get to go to Queens, which is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been able to go to Queens for a long time. Like, that was the most recent time we've got to go to Queens in an open world Spider-Man game is Ultimate Spider-Man.
Really?
Yeah. They released the trailer recently for the sequel to Spider-Man PS4.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing they highlighted was that you can go to Queens, and people were so excited about that.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like,
Um.
Queens.
So how did the DS version play, by the way?
Real easy, real easy.
Like, what kind of like did it follow the same formula gameplay wise, or did they take a different approach to it, or what?
Oh no, it was level based. So instead of just like swinging to your next objective in the open world, it just went to the next objective. And
I
its big gameplay gimmicks was that when you were playing as Venom, you played on the touchscreen, and you can use the touchscreen to have his tendrils pop out and grab things and move things around,
Mhm.
which was fun, but it also made the game insanely easy because like you could grab bosses and they just couldn't do anything to you while you grabbed them. And you could just slam them on the floor a bunch of times, and that's all you had to do. Like the Venom levels were insanely easy. And then for Spider-Man, as the levels went on, you would unlock special combat abilities, but they got real broken real quick.
Gotcha.
Like there's one that's just like a supersonic flurry of punches, and you push that and the fight's over. I've been able to beat bosses in one special move.
Dang.
Yeah. But that's kind of the gameplay of it. There are occasions where like you get to a point where you get to choose if you play a Spider-Man or Venom first,
Mm-hmm.
and that changes like what the level looks like for the other character.
Oh, that's interesting.
So like if you play as Venom first, you go through and you break stuff and you're a giant alien goop. And then
Mhm.
when you play through the level as Spider-Man afterwards, you have like you have more characters you have to save, more NPCs you have to take to safe places. You have more destruction you have to navigate around. Whereas if you play a Spider-Man first, then you get a lot more enemies who will attack Venom later.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so like that would be the big gimmicks I would say of the game.
Yeah. That's an interesting dynamic though.
Yeah, it was neat. You don't really get to pick who goes first in the console version.
Yeah, you just play the character based on the level.
Mhm. All right, Battle for New York. Battle for New
Okay.
York is the sequel to Ultimate Spider-Man on the Nintendo DS and Game Boy.
So, funny thing about this game is I actually played Battle for New York and owned it growing up, and I had no idea Ultimate Spider-Man on the DS existed, so I didn't even know it was a sequel.
Lucky. I wanted that game so bad. I couldn't find it.
Really? You had the opposite problem?
Yeah, as a kid, I was like, "Oh, I want Battle for New York." My parents would never get it, and I could
Aw.
never find it in the store.
I remember the game being kind of hard, but I might have been a dumb kid.
Yeah, probably. If it's
Yeah.
anything like Ultimate Spider-Man on the DS, it was probably super simple.
Oh, yeah, most likely. But that one it was interesting because you got to play as like the Green Goblin, I believe.
Yeah. Uh as opposed to like they kept I imagine they probably just kept the same gimmicks from the previous game where you played as Spider-Man, then you played as the Goblin, and you could choose which one you went through first, right?
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah. So more of the same, but the same was pretty good, so more of it is okay.
Yeah, so that's the one I played and enjoyed growing up because it was interesting because while you were talking about Ultimate Spider-Man, I looked up gameplay of the DS version. I was like, hold on a second. I've seen this before.
All right, well there you go. It's the same
Yep.
framework. Solid game.
Exactly.
I
Mhm.
really liked Ultimate Spider-Man on the DS. I'm glad I got to play that game.
And I liked Battle for New York.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Always wondered what the Game Boy versions of these games were like.
Yeah,
But
that's a good point.
but like I remember I tried getting the Game Boy version of Ultimate Spider-Man once,
Hmm.
but I think the logic I was given was, well, you already have the DS version, so why would you want the same game twice? I think was the logic.
Oh, okay. Although it's kind of interesting because during this time period, different versions of games on different consoles were very different from each other.
Yes,
Happened all the time.
all the time, which was kind of fun because it meant that like you could potentially get like 3 or 4 different games all tying into the same idea.
Exactly.
So hey, two things before
Woo!
we hop into 2007.
All right.
First thing, uh since Spider-Man 2 was a big success, Activision commissioned a new Spider-Man game every year. They tried to keep it on that kind of schedule. So over the next few games, I think we're going to see like this pattern of a lot of copy and pasting of past ideas into a slightly different environment, and it starts to really hurt some of these later games as we later see.
Gotcha.
But it's interesting nonetheless, and we do get some really good gems in there. Now, number two, this will make everyone here upset. There was a PS3 port planned for Ultimate Spider-Man that was canceled.
Why'd they cancel it?
Because they just did. But think about that game in HD.
Oh, that would have been sick.
Oh, that would be so good. Just, oh, it would be pretty. Like, it looks pretty good now, but like in HD,
You game developers hate good things.
I don't know. And I don't know anything about video games. I'm just here.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, I remember when I heard about that. It's like, no. And instead, the first HD Spider Man game we get is Spider Man 3. God.
Yeah, I owned that one.
I didn't.
I bought it hoping for more of the previous Spider-Man games, you know?
Yeah, and was it?
Um, well, no, not really.
Oh,
Like it followed the same formula, it just wasn't done well.
oh, that's unfortunate.
I remember like they had this weird thing going on where you would fight like various gangs around like New York and have different missions against them and like it would build up with time with you fighting these different groups. And I remember there was one group in particular. Let me see if I can find them. What was it called? They had various gangs and stuff. Oh gosh, what are the name of those gangs?
The
There was
Pizza
like one
Papas.
that was there was one that was a blatant ripoff of like Harley Quinn.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. But also was kind of cool. Like what was cool about it though was how they incorporated a bunch of Spider-Man villains into it.
Okay.
Like it wasn't just Venom, New Goblin, and Sandman. Like there were parts where you would have to deal with like you had a Dr. Kirk Connors in there, so you had to fight the lizard. They had Craven in that game actually. You had to fight him.
Okay.
Uh there was also Kingpin, of course. I remember thinking though, like the funniest thing about that game is when you would fight Craven and like you had to time button presses to dodge attacks, right?
Uh-huh.
I remember one time I didn't dodge one of Craven's attacks, and I thought it was the funniest thing because he just proceeds to German suplex Spider-Man.
Oh, that seems to be the legacy of that particular game. When you mess up, it's like funny.
Oh yeah, 100%. By the way, I remembered the name of the group. They were called Arsenic Candy.
Arsenic Candy. I'm gonna look up a picture.
Yep, Spider-Man, Arsenic Candy, and they're just like this group of friggin' Harley Quinn ripoffs.
Oh, hey, they look like Harley Quinn.
Yep.
Huh. This actually might be a bit ahead of its time, though, because like Harley Quinn didn't dress like this until way later.
That's true. Maybe
Wait,
Harley
hold
Quinn ripped
on.
off Arsenic Candy.
Hold on. Arkham Asylum release was in 2009. So yeah, it came after that.
Oh, snap. So you're telling me that Harley Quinn ripped off Arsenic Candy from Spider-Man 3 video game.
That's what it's starting to look like.
It all makes sense now. But yeah, I remember this game not being very good, and like, I don't know. I just wasn't a big fan of it, and just didn't play as well as Spider-Man 2. Like, you can tell they were very focused more on the graphics than the gameplay.
Yeah. And the graphics aren't even that good.
Yeah, they've definitely aged extremely poorly. But yeah, most entertaining part about this game, if you ever want to have a good laugh, go online and look up Spider-Man 3 game QTE fails. And you're gonna see some of the funniest stuff ever.
I'm gonna die.
That's the big classic one everyone always remembers.
Yep. It's right at the beginning. Spider-Man just belly flops onto the pavement. I'm gonna die. And then the building explodes.
Sorry about that, actually. First time I played the game, I failed that QTE because when it suddenly zoomed in on the lady's face that you're trying to save,
Oh.
she scared me. I saw her face, I was just kind of like, ah.
Again, the graphics aren't that good.
Nope.
But that's okay because in the same year we got Spider-Man Friend or Foe.
This one I didn't really have much experience with, except for that one time we played some of it together.
Yeah, I played a little bit more of it. If you've played 5 minutes of the game, you've played the whole thing.
Okay, yeah. It's your standard go through the level, beat 'em up type game.
Yeah, and Spider-Man is broken because he has one move that will throw the bad guys off the ledge, and if they throw him off the ledge, then you win. And no one interrupts you during this move, so you just spam that and you're done. Very easy.
Okay, well, there you go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was kind of a novel concept at the time, though, of you can play as Spider-Man or you can play as his villains that are now working with him.
You could play as Spider-Man or you could be player 2.
Oh, is there no option to play as the foes if you're player 1?
No, there is. There is. And since but you always have to have Spider-Man on your team.
Yeah.
So it's like someone gets to be Spider-Man.
Okay.
And when I say gets to be, I mean somebody has to be Spider-Man.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But that's okay. But there were a lot of cool characters that you could play as. If you're playing single player, you can swap between the two, which doesn't really help you out at all because all the characters kind of play the same.
Okay.
Change of scenery, I guess.
Interesting thing about this game, apparently the DS and PSP versions were made by Behavior Interactive.
Ooh.
Do you know them?
Yeah, they're from Quebec City as Megaton. 2 years later, the company's current CEO and executive producer, Remy Racine, co-founded the Montreal-based Multimedia Interactive to develop interactive entertainment software for CD-ROM.
There you go.
Let's see what they did. Oh, Monsters Inc. Scream Team.
Yeah, you're going to see they did a lot of stuff you'll recognize because in their early years, they were known as Artificial Mind and Movement, which was A2M for short.
Yeah.
Not a good acronym.
They did Teen Titans on the PS2 and Monster House and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. And there's a
bunch of stuff.
There's an Enchanted game on GBA.
Yeah, did you not know about that one?
No. Oh wow.
I think
made
there's
a lot
also
of stuff.
an Enchanted DS game.
Huh. Probably isn't any good, huh?
No, not from what I remember of the 5 minutes I played of it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. Yeah, but it's actually really interesting because so the thing though is, they did mostly they did mostly licensed games throughout their time. And they even had a hand in like some really well-known ones like Shadow of Mordor, for
Ooh,
example.
good game.
But then the big thing that most people know them for, that's like a huge deal, is they're the creators of Dead by Daylight.
Okay, I've
Yeah.
heard of it.
Yep, that's a online asymmetrical horror game where you play as either survivors trying to escape the killer, you play as killers killing the survivors. And it's kind of cool because they have like a bunch of licensed killers in there now, so that's pretty nice.
Neat.
So yeah, I just saw that Behavior Interactive was involved with Friend or Foe. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. 2008. This game, it reviewed okay, but I've only ever heard good things about it from people who played it, and I am one of them.
All right, I played it a bit in passing, but my brother actually played this game a ton because we rented it from Blockbuster, and he played through the whole game.
Yeah. The game, of course, we're talking about is titled Web of Shadows, Spider-Man
Yep.
Web of Shadows. So this game is, what if Infamous was actually about Spider-Man?
Literally, they saw Infamous and went, "Oh, we want to do that."
And so, like, there's a morality system that changes the ending. You can switch between the red suit and the black suit on the fly, which gives you a completely different move set for each. The red suit is focused more on speed and acrobatics, whereas the black suit is focused more on power and strength. And yeah, that's the game. You try to stop a symbiote invasion, and you can run into Wolverine and Power Man and all kinds of characters.
This game always makes me think of the song Mad World every time.
Yes, okay, but why?
You know the intro where Spider-Man is just like walking around all sad and stuff?
Yep.
I just imagine Mad World being played.
Okay.
So just all around me are familiar faces.
Oh, golly.
It just fits too well.
Yeah, it kind of does, huh? But
Yep.
Web of Shadows is a fantastic game. It's one of the last open world games we're going to get until like
Way
The
later.
Amazing Spider-Man. Except
Okay, so not way later, but
yeah, but like The Amazing Spider-Man barely counts as open world, and I'll explain it when we get there. But Web of Shadows is a fun game. If you can track it down, you should definitely play it, though it is a bit harder to get a hold of these days.
oh yeah, another word of advice if you're playing Web of Shadows. Make sure you remember that this was during the time of QuickTime events when they were very popular, so don't put your controller down during cutscenes.
Yeah, but they're a bit more forgiving than in Spider-Man 3, and they're just as funny if you fail them.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because Yuri just goes all out with his screaming.
Yeah. Is
All
that
right,
Yuri
next
Lowenthal?
Yeah, it's Yuri Lowenthal.
Oh, my guy.
I'm pretty sure, at least.
Hold on. I'm gonna look this up. Plot.
Oh no, it's Mike Vaughn. My bad, I got mixed
Okay,
up.
I was starting to think of it as like, that's not Yuri. Yuri didn't start until somehow the phone version of The Amazing Spider-Man. I think that was his first.
Oh, okay.
All right, Toxic City.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this one.
Oh, this is one of the sequels to Ultimate Spider-Man they put on mobile.
Oh, okay.
I haven't played it.
Apparently, it was released on BlackBerry, for what that's worth.
Yeah, so I haven't played it.
Spider-Man Toxic City. I want to at least look up screenshots or something.
Yeah, I mean that's worth it.
Yep, that's what it is. It's a 2D sprite model of Spider-Man in a badly rendered 3D environment that seems to be a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
All right, handy.
Also, the symbiote costumes in there apparently.
Well, it's almost like if you don't have the symbiote costume, people will riot.
Yeah, more or less.
Speaking of sequels to Ultimate Spider-Man, we sort of have one here. I think this is the last time Ultimate Spider-Man, the video game canon, goes anywhere.
Oh, is
And
it Shattered Dimensions?
Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. That's the next one on the list.
Okay.
Now, this one, have you played it at all?
No, I didn't play this one at all.
Buddy,
I remember seeing the front cover a lot in GameStops.
buddy,
What's up?
this game kind of rocks.
Oh, okay.
So it's level based, but it's like arcadey high score based in those levels. So you're scored based on how quickly you can get through the level. You're scored as to how big of combos you can get. And at the end of it, you get like a letter grade for the level. And that's the gameplay element. But the story goes is that Mysterio finds a magic tablet. And then he's all like, I have found the magic tablet. And Spider-Man's like, nuh-uh. And then breaks the tablet. And Madam Web is all like, you have broken the tablet of tabletness. And now you and versions of you from across the multiverse must find the pieces. And you're like, oh, okay. And you have the Amazing Spider-Man, which is in a slightly cel-shaded world. And that's based off of combos and traversal. And then you have Spider-Man Noir, who's based on stealth. And then you have Spider-Man 2099, who's based on traversal and obstacle courses. And then Ultimate Spider-Man, that's based on combat and combos. And you go through various levels, trying to find the pieces of the tablets, fighting a boss at every level. So it never slows down. The action just keeps on going every level. And it's fantastic. The best level is Ultimate Spider-Man facing Deadpool. Deadpool buys off an oil rig, and it's like the only open-ended level in the game.
Okay.
But it's the best. You have to go around, you have to defuse like all these bombs and fight the right number of people, and then swing to the end, and then you fight Deadpool, and then you beat Deadpool, and it's fantastic. And I love this game so much.
I just looked up gameplay of it, and now I'm upset I never played it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And then another fun detail is that all of the Spider-Man are voiced by different people who voiced Spider-Man on TV at some point.
Oh, that's really cool.
So that's a fun little added thing about Shattered Dimensions. I love Shattered Dimensions. It's fantastic. If you can get a hold of it, I would definitely recommend it, like highly.
Okay.
And then it was followed up with its sequel, Edge of Time.
How was that one?
I have yet to be able to find Edge of Time. That is one of them that's like eluding my grasp. I look for it every time I go into a game store and I never find it.
Gotcha.
But it is the sequel to Shattered Dimensions. Christopher Daniel Barnes from the 90s series is now 2099, and he's fantastic in it. Basically, someone went back in time to Peter Parker's time and messed up the future. And Miguel O'Hara, who's 2099, is on a quest to try and fix everything, bring it all back. And it's pretty good. Oh, a couple things I want to bring up. Okay, so Shattered Dimensions is written by Dan Slott, who would go on to write the first Spider-Verse books.
Oh,
so like
nice.
Shattered Dimensions is like a prototype to Spider-Verse, which is really cool. And then Edge of Time, they got Peter David to write Edge of Time, and he created Spider-Man 2099. So Spider-Man 2099 is best portrayed outside of comics, is best portrayed in Edge of Time. If you want like the pure essence of the character, it's in there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Edge of Time is one of the few that I've been actively trying to collect and actively cannot find. Yeah.
That's unfortunate. Just hard to find.
Yeah, well, yeah, because like Activision lost the license, and so like you can't get the PC version, and since you can't get the PC version, everyone's trying to get the console versions. And the PS3 version, the one I'm trying to track down, is just gone. Just nowhere to be found.
I can keep an eye out for it.
Yes, please do. If you can find it for a reasonable price, of course.
Okay, will do. Okay. Yeah, I'll just call you if I ever come across it.
Nice. And that's what friends are for,
Sweet.
folks.
All right. Yeah, exactly. Spider-Man taught us that.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Next is The Amazing Spider-Man for 2012. I did not play this one
I did.
because
Oh, why didn't you play?
I just never really felt like it, and then like I don't know. At the time, I wasn't a big fan of the Amazing Spider-Man film. I'm not sure if I would like it now. Like, I need to rewatch and see how I feel now. I was
I
pretty
see.
indifferent to it when it came out. I remember that.
I see.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I played this game. And if you don't like the movie, then you're not going to care for the story of this game
Fair
because it
enough.
is a direct sequel to the movie. Uh,
Oh,
so what
that's
happens is that like a couple of days after the movie ends, Spider-Man is trying to trace down like other science experiments that were having their DNA messed up, a la the lizard.
hmm
And Gwen got bit by some giant rat person. And so you're trying to also hurry up so that you can get the antidote so that she doesn't mutate into a horrible monster and or die.
Oh, okay.
It looks like it's open world if you squint. And you do indeed get to swing around a version of New York City. But it's more like it's a hub than it is an open world.
Okay, I see.
There's not a whole lot to do in the open world. There's never any true events that happen in the open world. Even if there is an event, it will transport you to a designated level.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really open world.
Hmm.
It's decent. It's a decent enough game, but it feels like the budget version of what they wanted to do.
Gotcha. Yeah, they were probably had like time and money constraints
Well, if you look at it, they've been
to make
making
sure.
a big AAA Spider-Man game every year for the past since 2004. They had one every single year. It's the same developers, so it's like you know.
Yeah.
Ugh. But they did the best job they could, I think, and the story is fine enough if you liked the Amazing Spider-Man. They couldn't get Andrew Garfield's likeness, so you never get to see him in the game.
Oh, okay.
Even when the costume gets all torn up, because the costume gets damaged as you go through levels.
Hmm.
You never see Andrew Garfield. You get to see
Gotcha.
Emma Stone. She's in the game.
That's interesting. Okay. Other thing that's kind of interesting, though, in my opinion, is like I'm looking at this and it looks like the combat's just copying the Arkham games.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing I was thinking to bring up, but then didn't. Thanks for bringing that up. It's the Arkham games. The combat is
Gotcha.
Arkham. But since you have the spider sense, I dare say that it's way easier than Arkham.
Okay.
On the hardest difficulty of Arkham, what happens is they turn off the notification to dodge. And so you have to pay attention to the animation cycles of all of the guys around you.
Oh, geez.
It sounds harder than it actually is. You get a feel for it. Like it takes a minute to get used to it, but then you get a feel for it.
Okay.
And since he's Spider-Man and he has spider sense, he can't turn that off. So basically, the only difficulty adjustment is they just make the bad guys have more health.
Gotcha.
And that's not as fun. It's just more time consuming.
I getcha. Yeah. I always disliked when video games did that. Like, we just stacked on more health onto them. Good luck fighting them all, I guess.
I guess. So yeah,
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man is nothing special to write home about.
Mhm.
None of the versions really are. Though the only thing that would be special to bring up is the fact that the mobile version is almost exactly the same as the console version. So I don't know what kind of black magic they had to
Really?
pull to make that happen.
Yeah.
And Yuri Lowenthal is Spider-Man in the phone version, which is fun because he's like Spider-Man later and he's fantastic. He's my favorite. He's my favorite Spider-Man voice.
Nice.
Yeah. He's going to be at
I mean, he
Comic-Con.
is a very good inspector. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm going to see him at Comic-Con, hopefully. Get him to sign my game. Woo.
Wait, which game are you gonna have him sign? Spider-Man on the PS4 or no?
Yeah, PS4.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So there
All
you
right.
go.
Next on the we have Ultimate Spider-Man Total Mayhem for 2013.
It's all right. It's a
What is it?
level-based action game.
Okay.
You can swing around and you fight the bad guys, and I guess I lied when I said that we were done with the sequels to Ultimate Spider-Man, because this is a
Ah,
sequel to it as well.
gotcha.
Ultimate Spider-Man just kept on going.
Mm-hmm. Was this just like a free download one, or did you have to
Yeah.
pay for
Yeah, free
Okay.
download. It was a pretty beefy game for being a free download. There weren't even any ads or anything. I don't know how they made money off of it, which is probably why it's not around anymore.
Probably.
Then again, right under that, we have Spider-Man Unlimited, which I'm sure made a killing and is also still not around anymore,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me really sad.
Yeah, I remember you talking about this one before and saying how much you liked it.
I loved that game so much. I had so much fun.
It's
You got
like
to
an
play-
auto run, right?
It's an auto runner. It's an endless runner, and you dodge all the stuff, and you play as Spider-Man, but you could also play as Spider-Man, 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 and they had like 500 playable characters in it.
Nice.
They all played
And
the
they're all
same,
Spider-Man.
but they were all Spider-Man,
Nice.
except for the times when they weren't.
Okay.
You could play as J. Jonah Jameson.
Oh, that's amazing. Best game ever.
Yeah, it was. It was.
All right. Well, seems like there's not much to talk about from the 2013 games.
Not a whole lot, no. But I mean, they were just like the cheap phone games that year.
Mhm.
And then after The Amazing Spider-Man 2, we slow way down
Yeah. What made the Amazing Spider-Man 2 different, by the way?
from the first one.
Yeah.
Not much. It's a completely original story. It's not really a sequel to the second movie. It kind of hints at events from the second movie, but it almost feels like the second movie events are afterthoughts. Like Electro's barely in the game. Goblin is barely in the game. Gwen doesn't appear at all.
For obvious reasons.
And like outside of that, you have this fairly okay story where you're chasing down the Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
And you fight the Kingpin, and that happens near the end. And honestly, like everything that was part of the movie felt very shoehorned into it.
Gotcha.
It felt like it was supposed to be a different game. Now, traversal is exactly the same as the first one. You get better costumes, I'd say.
Mhm.
It's technically the first time Miles is portrayed in a game, because you get the Miles Morales costume. And they give you an in-canon excuse for it, which is fun, saying that there's an in-universe Spider-Man comic book starring a kid named Miles Morales, and this is the costume based off of that in-universe comic.
Nice.
Stan Lee has a pretty prominent role in the game, which is fun.
Oh,
He runs the comic shop, which is where you buy all the extras.
nice.
And the comic
That's
shop is
great.
very inconveniently located. Oh, that's
Mm.
probably the biggest thing. The game is inconvenient.
How so?
So as you're going through the game, you have various events happen and crimes happen, but there's always crimes happening. And they're always
Mhm.
spread out across the map. And if you don't get there in time, they're all on an invisible timer. And if you don't get there in time, then your notoriety level increases because you didn't stop the crime. So you must be a menace to society.
Oh, okay.
And then J. Jonah Jameson yells at you. And then there's like a private security force in New York. And the more menacing you are, as in the more times you don't stop a crime in time, the more angry they get. And then that makes traversing the world way harder. They throw like bombs at you. They have drones that will chase you. You have to kill the drones, but the drones move super fast. All of a sudden, you're on the other side of the map from where you were trying to get. Ugh, that's the biggest problem with The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It is inconvenient. And
So
like I timed it. I timed
Mhm.
it where I got myself maximum honor, if we want to call it that. And within 5 minutes, I was already down to the second level of notoriety.
Oh my gosh.
And it takes so much longer to get rid of the notoriety. Ugh, gross, 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 gross.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So, just real quick, you're telling me that these guys, they're all like, man, Spider-Man's a menace to society. I know. Let's throw bombs at him in the middle of New York.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Yes. And they have like shields and they have laser guns and it's
jeez.
dumb. It is so dumb. And eventually I just gave up on it. And it's like, you know what? I'm just going to just bulldoze my way through the story campaign. You don't even have to go into the open world because there's a level select at Aunt May's house. You could just stay there. And so I just,
hilarious.
the only reason I went out into the open world is because this is the big advantage that this game had. And now things change with the Insomniac trilogy, which hopefully will turn into more games.
Oh, yeah.
So 2018 Marvel Spider-Man. For those of us who have a PlayStation 4, we're very, very happy and fortunate. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and just tell you about how great this game is. This game is great.
I actually have not played it.
Yeah. Well, I play it all the time. I'm
Oh, okay.
probably on like my 10th playthrough right now.
Oh, wow.
I love this game so much. Everything that was good about all the past Spider-Man games has been refined and tooled and reworked, and it's great. The combat is so much better than it was in the Amazing Spider-Man games, or at least it's more unique. And traveling is just quick and zippy. You have, at any given time, you have at least 4 ways you can traverse forward.
Oh, nice.
Which is just awesome. So you really have a lot of control and choice in how you move, how you fight. You have all these gadgets at your disposal, or you could just not use the gadgets. And then you have suit powers, which is a special extra ability that you get with the suit, but you can swap it around with the suit. So you're not like stuck with a suit you don't like for a power you do like. My standard loadout, I like to use either the Tobey Maguire suit, the Spider-Man manga suit, or the leather jacket suit, one of those 3. And then the Spider-Punk guitar, where you push down the 2 sticks and then you play a ridiculously loud power chord on a guitar and it pushes everyone off the roof. And it's awesome. It's my favorite. I love this game so much. It makes me so happy. And then, of course, it was followed up a couple years later with, we were all hoping for the sequel. We weren't that lucky. With Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is more of the same, but like slightly tweaked. And this one, you get a lot less gadgets and you get a couple less like combat options, but in its place, you get electricity powers and you get turn invisible powers. Which makes stealth like way more easier-ist. Then you also get, the electricity powers are like the main mechanic of the game. You're always using them. It has a designated button, and when you push down that shoulder button and you push one of the face buttons, you get a different effect, either like a super jump or a lunge attack or a power attack, or that kind of thing. And you can set the character build up like with enough different combined suit powers. You can build your character up to where you could just be invisible almost all the time, which is pretty great. Yeah, Miles is really well done. I don't like it as much as the main Spider-Man game from earlier, but it's solid. It's solid enough. It's a lot harder, but it's solid. And then the last one on the list here, Marvel Spider-Man 2. We don't know
to come out
much about that, but it's going to come out soon. And I'm very excited about that. I need a PS5 so I can play it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you pick one up.
I need one. I need one so bad. Oh, I need a PlayStation 5. I thought I could live without one. And then I saw the trailer for Spider-Man 2 and it's like, I need it. Uh, it's so
Gotcha.
good. It's so good. But I guess let's see. I didn't go over the story points at all in those games, huh? I just gushed about gameplay.
Yeah, more or less.
All right. Well, in the first game, what happens is the Kingpin is taken down right at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And so in his place, it shows up a couple of people. There's the demons who are led by a guy named Martin Lee, who
Okay.
is Mr. Negative, a rather obscure character, but I'm glad he's there.
Mm-hmm.
And he has it out for Norman Osborn because Norman Osborn committed like unethical experiments that gave him awful, nasty superpowers and killed his parents.
Oh my.
And you have Dr. Octavius, who's trying to change the world and make the world a better place through the use of prosthetics.
Mm-hmm.
But Norman Osborn keeps cutting his funding because Norman Osborn is a terrible, nasty person. That's like the common thread here. Norman Osborn is a terrible, nasty person. And because Norman is a terrible, nasty person and keeps taking Octavius's funding and Octavius's stuff, he starts doing more dangerous experiments that alter his mind, and he becomes Dr. Octopus. I don't know if you would have seen that coming, but that's what happens.
Wait, you're telling me that Dr. Octavius becomes Doc Ock?
A guy named Otto Octavius winds up with 8 limbs. What are the odds?
No.
And it's really heartbreaking. Like, it's so sad. Because as Peter Parker, you're working as an assistant to Octavius.
Mm-hmm.
And he truly wants to make the world a better place. He left Oscorp at one point because he wanted to make prosthetics to help people's world living like way easier. We also learned that he has a neurological problem where like his nerves are just dying, so he's slowly losing control of his body. But he has this brilliant mind behind it, so he wants this to work so that he could save not only others but himself. But like the neural interface just keeps breaking down and it breaks down his brain, and it's just so sad to see. It's heartbreaking. It's honestly like it is the best and most heartbreaking Spider-Man story, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. And then it's Miles Morales. It's about his best friend from high school. I guess he's still in high school, but his best friend from earlier turns into like this technological terrorist who's trying to take down this big unethical corporation, Roxconn, who is building this clean energy plant that's actually just a big bomb in the middle of Harlem. And you're Miles Morales and you're trying to stop that.
Okay.
And the story for Spider-Man 2, we don't know. We have bits and pieces, but we don't know. Kraven the Hunter is there.
Okay, yeah.
We're trying to cure Harry Osborn of this genetic disease that they reveal he has in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Venom shows up at some point. Norman Osborn is a terrible, nasty person, I'm sure.
Yeah, seems consistent with the rest of the games.
Yeah. So that's the Insomniac trilogy.
All right. And that's where we currently are in the world of Spider-Man video games. And that's not even including like spin-off games or games where he's not the main character. Like there's so much more to the world of Spider-Man in video games. That's kind of crazy.
There really is. But what's also really fascinating to me is just like how much of Spider-Man lore is actually built through video games. Like the whole idea of Spider-Verse came from a combination of having a bunch of alternate costumes and shattered dimensions. Like it's very much a video game idea. And that's like the biggest thing in Spider-Man lore right now.
Yeah, so yeah, that's crazy, especially with the fact that, you know, like we've seen Into the Spider-Verse and now Across the Spider-Verse is out.
Yeah.
Which is our way of saying, Sony, please sponsor us.
So I want to know, what of all the games here, which one would you say is your favorite?
Ooh, okay. My favorite game is definitely let's see. I'm gonna have to go with Spider-Man Return of the Sinister Six.
That's a bold choice.
Yeah, I'm kidding. The one I definitely enjoyed the most growing up and have the most experience with, I got to go with Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a solid choice.
Yeah, I think I have a feeling I know what yours is.
Yeah. It's Return of the Sinister Six.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's both of our favorites. But your second favorite is 2018 Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Uh, oh yeah. I
Kind of
love
like
that
how
game.
my second favorite is Ultimate Spider-Man.
Followed very closely by the Atari game.
Oh yeah, you just can't beat the classics, you know?
No, like it's the original. It's the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gaming peaked.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's as the rhyme goes. First is not the worst.
there's probably a bunch of people out there who would say that gaming peaked with the Atari.
It's possible.
Ugh. Yeah, but oh my gosh, I love these games so much. Uh, I have like a lot of things I would love to see in the games going forward. We have
Mhm.
Spider-Man 2 coming out. I think Spider-Man 2099 spinoff would be really cool too, like we got with Miles
Ooh.
Morales. Just give us a future version of New York City, like build it up on top of itself so you have like a lower level and a higher level, and you get cool future powers. Not Miles. Miguel doesn't have spider sense, so like you could play around with like a very different kind of moveset with that.
Mhm.
He fights a lot of aerial bad guys, a lot more than Peter did. So that's a game I think would be really cool. What about you? Is there anything that you'd like to see from Spider-Man games?
Okay. So thinking back on previous games and what they've done in the past, something I think would be really cool is reboot the Shattered Dimensions series, like go off of that general concept, call it something new, but use the Spider-Man characters from Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that'd be cool. Just like a straight up movie tie-in?
Yeah, like you can either make it a movie tie-in or just like a spin-off of the movies, and the idea is the different level structures with the different approaches to them, but you're using the various characters that we see and Into the Spider-Verse. So Miles Morales, Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy, Penny Parker, Peter Porker, Spider-Man Noir, you know.
And you can get Nicolas Cage to come back.
Exactly.
That would be so fun.
hmm
I'm on board. You made a good point. That's a good idea. All right. Well, hey, I think that is it for this episode.
All right, awesome. Do you have
Yeah.
any wise words of wisdom?
Shut up. That's my wise words of wisdom to you. Shut up.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for your wise words of wisdom.
I was that close. Okay, let's see. Wise words of wisdom. With great power comes great responsibility.
I've never heard that before. Where'd you get it from?
Oh, I read it in a comic book somewhere.
Oh, okay.
So we talked a lot
Okay.
about Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mhm.
And I remember there was this one part in the game, and I'm sure you remember this too, where Peter is looking over some recordings left by his dad. And his dad is talking about how there are going to be people in the world who you're going to see them and they're going to act a certain way. You're going to just have to ask yourself, why is this person like this? Why are they so bent on greed and destruction? And why will they go to the lengths that they do just to get what they want? And I think it's important to remember that, like, even in the face of so many controversial and so many painful things in this world, it's important to remember to stay hopeful and to stay good and to ultimately remember who exactly you are and why you do the things that you do, and not cave into all the pressures of the world to become, you know, a bad person, someone that you're not, someone who steps on the people below you, you know?
Mhm.
So I think that's my wise words of wisdom. Be Spider-Man, don't be nasty, evil, bad guy person.
Yeah, be Spider-Man in Ultimate Spider-Man for the DS. Don't be Venom and slap everyone with your tentacles.
That's a good way to go about it. Just don't be anyone from the Ultimate Comics at all. Peter Parker's the only one in that whole universe that's not a jerk.
Fair enough.
Like, every time I try to read Ultimate Avengers, I'm just sad because it's not good and everyone's mean to each other.
Jeez.
Oh, there's this one part of Ultimate Avengers that just drives me nuts, and I don't know how they got away with this.
What's up?
Okay, Mark Miller. I can't hate him because every time I think about hating his work, I then remember, oh, wait, he wrote Civil War, the best comic book ever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part where in Ultimate Avengers where Wanda and Quicksilver, who, as you remember, are brother and sister,
Yeah.
start up a romantic relationship with each other.
Oh, that's weird.
That's not the weirdest part.
Oh, no.
The weirdest part is Captain America called him out on that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wasp, who was dating Captain America at this point,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was a weird book. She says, well, isn't it obvious? They're in love with each other. And Captain America says, but they're siblings. That's gross. And she says, and she and everyone else says, no, that's not gross. You're just old and out of touch.
What?
So the weird part, it's weird enough that he decided to have Wanda and her brother, Pietro Quicksilver, have a romantic relationship. It's weirder that he portrayed it as okay in the eyes of everyone except the one person he said was old and out of touch.
Jeez.
And I think about that sometimes. And then I remember that he wrote Civil War. And so it's like, oh, that's bad. I hate that. Why do you write the way you do? Oh, but this is really good. The duality of man.
Remember, kids, just do one good thing in life and you're set.
Well, it's not just one good thing. It's like he wrote Civil War. Whoa.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I devolved from our wise words of wisdom.
All right. And wise words of wisdom they were.
Ignore all the stuff about Sweet Home Alabama right there.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just
all right,
my mind. Everyone's okay with it except for Captain America. But Captain America's wrong?
That's so weird.
Everyone in the Ultimate Universe is terrible except Peter Parker. That's the moral of the story.
Gotcha.
Bye.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in to our episode of GC Squared. I don't know why I messed up the acronym.
It's your podcast. Why would you mess that up?
It's our podcast.
Oh. Thanks, everyone. This was fun.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed it. See you in the next one.
Yep. All right. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.